Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Dayton National Cemetery. On behalf of our director and our entire staff, we do want to say thank you to the Ohio Lawn Care Association and all the organizations that belong for providing this service to our veterans. This was started in 1993, makes this the 22nd year for this. Karen Duhart was our director, Mark Kaharski worked over in engineering, and Doug Haig worked for True Green. Through their efforts, this tradition began. For the past 22 years, we have been blessed with the Ohio Lawn Care Association providing fertilization service in honor of our deceased veterans. Veterans Day is very special to all of us. Our mission is to serve our veterans and their families, and we are privileged to play a role in honoring our nation's veterans. The sacrifices of our veterans will never be forgotten, and we take pride in caring for them in their hour of need. At this time, I ask you to please stand. We're going to have the posting of the colors, Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Chris Jeffrey will be playing the Star Spangled Banner, and Father George will have the invocation.
And salute. Ready to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are gathered here today in the presence of a loving God in connection with this Memorial Day, Veterans Day, National Cemetery, against the pain and terror of that brought thousands who died in war and peace. To rest here and countless national cemeteries in America and abroad. We come to this national cemetery to immortalize the memories of veterans buried here. Thousands of names are inscribed on war memorials and headstones all across the country and in a number of overseas locations. From a distance, those names may seem indistinguishable, That everyone, a friend or family who visits, will always see his face and hers or hers loved one's name first. We thank the Ohio Lawn Care Association for their yearly care and preparation of these final resting places of those who served and have given their lives in answer to the call of their country, in the peril and risk of war, in defending the most treasured and God-given gift of liberty and justice. Gracious God, we ask your blessing on this occasion. Let these grounds immortalize our grateful appreciation for the service of our nation and the world that these buried here have given. May this preparation today be a symbol of our gratitude to them and to our God who embraces all, both the living and the dead. We ask your blessing upon all. We ask this in your blessed name. Say amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Our first speaker today is no stranger to this program. Mark Kaharski, 22 years ago, as an employee with the medical center, was one of the initial people who started this program. This time I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Kaharski to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. As Dan said, I was here with the inception of this program. And in talking about that particular thing, I got to thinking about how long I've been associated with this cemetery. And after some thought, it went back to 1977 when I started here with the VA Medical Center in engineering. They assigned me as the engineer for the National Cemetery, and I've been associated with them ever since. Then I got to thinking about it even further, and it goes back into the 1960s. Yes, I am that old. And right over here, when you come in the main gate to the left, used to be a ball field, and I played there baseball there when I was in high school. And one of the first jobs that I had when I came to the VA was to tear down that ball field and all its memories and develop that area for gravesites. That being said, when the Ohio Lawn Care Association initiated this program, Karen Duhart, the then director, asked me to participate in this as well, and ever since I've been honored to be at every one that we have held. And after thinking about that, I wanted to keep the record going, and I got to thinking, you know, as long as the Ohio Lawn Care Association does this program, I won't miss one, because I'm going to be buried right here. So I'll be with you in the future. And because of that, it gives me the opportunity to tell each and every one of you how much this means, not just to me, but to all these veterans and their families who are buried here. There are wives, there are children, and there are civilians who are buried here. And each and every one of those people, if they could, would tell you, thank you for what you are doing and continue to do to honor our veterans. Not only do they do it here, but at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park, which I am a part of, where we honor the 401 men from this area who lost their lives in Vietnam. And we cherish that ground the same as we cherish this ground here. And by your activity here and there, You show your respect for the veterans and for what they mean to this country. And for that, I salute you and thank you for today.
Thank you, Mark. And we thank you for all those number of years that you've helped us out. So, our keynote speaker today is Colonel Timothy Ballard. He's the commander of the 88th Medical Group at the Air Force Materiel Command out at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He directs the second largest Air Force medical center with a total budget of over $140 million and employs a professional staff of over 2,200 personnel. The hospital annually serves over 300,000 outpatients, 3,000 same-day surgeries, over 4,000 admissions, and 32,000 dental patients. He's also responsible for training physicians, dentists, and nurses. He earned his commission from the Air Force Academy in 1988 and his medical degree from the Uniformed Services University Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland. He completed his residency in California. He also attended the University of Cincinnati and completed his residency in occupational medicine in 2008. The Colonel has served in support of Operation Southern Watch and Operation Enduring Freedom. And as a flight surgeon, he has more than 850 flying hours in various aircraft. He's married to Kristen, and he has 2 sons and a daughter. Please welcome Colonel Timothy Ballard.
On behalf of Colonel John DeVilliers, the 88th Air Base Wing Commander at Wright-Patterson, I want to thank you for inviting me to have this opportunity with you all to truly spend some time out at a wonderful place. Since our inception, our country's inception, we have relied on our armed forces to preserve our freedom without having to subject ourselves to the allegiance of any other country or government. During this time, it is estimated that over 40 million Americans have served in our armed forces. Every American generation has sacrificed family members to maintain freedom both home and abroad. Today, less than 1% of Americans serve in our all-volunteer, active, reserve, and National Guard forces. They are tasked to support and to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They display core values spanning from duty, honor, country, honor, courage, commitment, and integrity, service, and excellence. They are the foundation of the most powerful military in the world, also set apart by a professional and educated non-commissioned officer corps that is the envy of all the world's military forces. It is a meritocracy where individuals are promoted from within, based on their duty performance and the ability to effectively serve in the next higher grade. Its leaders are not selected by political affiliation, family name, or class of society. It is indeed a diverse reflection of our society, a melting pot of gender, race, religious affiliation, and beliefs, all brought together for a common goal of preserving our way of life. Back in 1918, on the 11th day of the 11th month, at the 11 o'clock in the morning, an armistice was signed between the Allies and Germany to signify the end of World War I, the world to end all wars. 1 year later, President Woodrow Wilson celebrated this day as Armistice Day to signify this event. Although other wars have subsequently been waged using our armed forces, this date has maintained its significance to our country. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed into law a new name for this date, Veterans Day, to honor all those who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Those individuals who have answered our nation's call to arms and served to preserve our freedoms. They have served knowing that there was a potential of making the ultimate sacrifice so that we can continue to have the freedoms in our lives that our generation has earned and enjoyed. As a physician in the armed forces, it gives me great pride to acknowledge the vast improvements in our ability to promote the survival of our troops in harm's way. Our promise to do what we can to reunite them with their families Where once the died of wounds rate of our troops was over 50%, it is now less than 10%, despite technological advances that make military weapons more lethal than ever. But regardless of whether it's the battlefield or in our typical lives at home, no veteran can escape Father Time. Since 1867, the Dayton National Cemetery has kept the promise of treating our veterans who have passed with dignity and respect. It has accommodated thousands of veterans from every conflict between the Civil War up to the present. And it is through the diligent support of the Ohio Lawn Care Association over the past 22 years, involving thousands of hours of care and feeding, that this cemetery is truly one of the finest in the land, reaching shrine status in the recent past, a testament to the work that you all do on a regular basis to dedicate to this wonderful facility. It's a beautiful landmark, poetic in its support to our veterans. Thus, for all veterans, I want to personally thank you for your dedication to this cause. In conclusion, it gives me a great sense of pride to remember and pay tribute to all veterans during this time of the year. And please remember, if you enjoy your freedom, thank a veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Now I'd like to present Mr. Brian Billman, who is with True Green. I know he's been a part of this for a few years. So please welcome Brian Billman.
Good morning. A little cold, isn't it? Ready to get to work. Thank you for coming to this grateful event, Grateful Embrace. I cannot tell you how important it is what you are doing here today. As a veteran, I am humbled. As a conduit for all the patriots here, we thank you. Veterans are very unique people. We sacrifice ourselves for the sake of others. We fight, cry, get wounded, and are willing to die to protect the values of this great nation. John Fitzgerald Kennedy said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them in action." I am challenged today. My challenge is to bring a call to action here on the sacred ground, but I need not. Because before me I see a group of patriots who understand what freedom means, what giving back is, self-sacrifice, action. A short story. This is my 6th year here at this event. Every year I'm asked to come in uniform, my dress blues, look in my finest, pressed uniform and medals. Today is not about me or my sacrifices, or where I've been, what I've survived, or what I've done. But today I opened a closed chapter. I put on my uniform and stand before you, a Marine, first to fight, and first to volunteer. This is my call to action. To stand here alive and free, and be proud to be surrounded by people who appreciate the great sacrifices to all that are interned here. When you leave here today, stand proud, hold your head high, and remember this day. For it is because of the willing and compassionate people like you that I am honored as a veteran to know that our sacrifices were not in vain. As you walk and work here today, pause. Look at the markers. Take a minute. These are people who fought for all the values you believe in your way of life. I hope you are moved as I am, and consider it a privilege to be here today, just as I do. In closing, remember, it does not stop here today. Always give back. Give to your family, your friends, a complete stranger. This is what makes us a proud country, proud citizens, and proud Americans. This is why I am grateful. So do not look at me and say thank you. It is I, veterans, and the organizers here that salute you and appreciate what you are doing here today and every day for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Doug Haig, who is the man I've been dealing with for the last 10 years with this group. We thank him for all he's done for us and for bringing you guys here today. So, welcome, Doug Haig.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everybody. Like was mentioned earlier, I'm sure you're all ready to get back to work, so I'm going to be kind of brief, but I want everybody to know that this morning I'm wearing an old tattered Olka wind shirt, Ohio Lawn Care, that I received in 1993 and wore to that first event. And I'm not going to tell you what the significance of that is right now. You'll have to read the May issue of the newsletter to find out. Okay? But I want to thank Dan Barford for all the organization that he's put into this. I want to thank Mark Kaharski, a good friend. Colonel Timothy Ballard, thank you very much. Brian Billman, thank you so much. You've been a blessing to this event as well. So, thank you so much for that. I also want to thank some people behind the scenes that don't normally get mentioned, but Mark Wilson and his staff for doing all the work that they do. Thanks, Mark. The color guard, the chaplain, the gentleman, Christopher Jeffrey, that plays taps and that sort of thing. Also know that as we work here today, we've got another event going on in Rittman, Ohio, at the Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery. They're fertilizing about 60 acres up there. So it's going to be, it looks like we've got some good weather to do this, and we're going to have some fun with it. And it's just a great blessing that we're able to do this every year for the last 22 years. I appreciate every one of you guys and girls that are here to do this every year. So with that, I'll give it back to Dan.
Thank you. Again, on behalf of the cemetery, we thank you very much for what you do. Plenty of coffee and donuts back here, and I think the food truck's going to be here pretty soon, Lori. Okay, so you're welcome to go back to the office if you want to warm up before you head out. At this time, we're going to have Chaplain George, Father George, give the benediction. If you'll rise, stay standing for the rifle salute, taps, and the retrieving of the colors.
Let us go forth remembering the goodness and grace of God, and may we never forget that those who have paid a supreme sacrifice, serving the country with honor and devotion, and with families who grieve and mourn their loved ones that have died to make America free and one nation under God, with justice and liberty for all. On this day, may God bless all the veterans and their families. May God bless all of us in your blessed name. Amen.
Amen.
Honor squad. Half right. Face. Ready. Fire. Aim. Fire. Fire. Half left. Brace set. Lock.
retrieve colors. Present arms. Order arms. Face forward. March. Forward, march.
This does conclude our program today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
He's just a boy starting life, just out of school, now ready to fight, because he's an American hero, giving a life he's barely started. Out on the front lines, scared to be. Now he's a man.